Hey everybody, I want to talk about how to directly engage the narcissist whenever they're spreading rumors, spreading gossip, trying to smear you. This could be a family member, this could be a coworker, this could be your significant other, someone in the family. Generally, first of all, if at all possible, you really just don't want to say anything to anybody and just let them talk their rumors. Because the more you put out there, the more they're going to latch on to it. So the more you talk, so understand this about what I will call social debate or adversarial social conversations, for lack of I think that will probably get it. Adversarial social situations. The more you talk, the more you explain, the weaker your position comes. So, because when you're explaining, that means you're having to justify. When you're having to justify, that means that potentially your statements or your position were unjustified to begin with. So, these are things that subconsciously weaken your position, especially when you've done nothing wrong. That's one reason why rumors and gossip and smear campaigns are so effective, is because you know that they're wrong, and so you go and you try to explain yourself to people and try to explain what happened, and you find yourself, the more you explain, the worse stuff gets for some reason. And it's mind-boggling, because you're just trying to tell people what really happened, what actually happened, and the more you tell the truth, the less it's believed. And that is exactly how and why. Is because whoever is giving the explanation, if they're having to explain themselves, they're having to justify themselves. And if they're having to justify themselves, that means that they must have done something that people felt was unjustified, if that makes sense. So when you have to engage it directly, this is what you do. You say, that is not what happened. There was no whatever it is that they're accusing you of. So I'm going to use the big example of the ever popular phrase, there was no collusion. Did you ever notice how President Trump never tried to explain himself? He never tried to go into detail. He kept it very, very surface level. And that is because when people are gunning for you, when people are trying to take you down and trying to get you to say something to latch onto, you don't want to be putting anything else out there unnecessarily. Because people will hook onto it, and you'll find this, right? So whenever you say, no, that's not what happened, what really happened is blah, blah, and they say, so you're telling me that blah, right? The very second you start to explain what happened, then people are like, oh, okay, so really, you're just, so exactly, how is that not cheating? Or, how is that not lying? See, that's what I don't understand. How is that not being a cheater? How is that not being a liar? They're going to ask you, they're going to use those loaded questions, right? So the more you explain, when you put your explanation out there, they're just going to take it and they're going to spin it to their own uses and their own purposes to further smear you. So you don't want to put anything else out there. You really just want to put a true false statement out there. Yeah, I did. Right? So if people are like, I heard you did blah, blah, blah. Yes, I did. I absolutely did, and I would do it again. What? Is there anything else I can help you with? And then vice versa, it's like, no, I didn't do it. And I would never do that. And they're like, well, but what? And it's like, I mean, if I didn't do something, what else is there to explain? I can't explain other people's behavior. Ask them. No, I didn't do that, and I never would. No. Can somebody please pass the pumpkin pie? That's what you have to do. You have to limit it to just, yes, I did, no, I did not. Everything else is other people's behaviors. Period. And that is probably one of the only reasons why President Trump made it through the 2.5 years of the whole Russian collusion, treason, Mueller investigation. That's probably the only reason he made it through like he did, because anything else that he said would be on record, and then there was see what he's really doing is he's really confessing that he did, right? So it never works to your advantage when you're dealing with someone in a social situation, when you're in an adversarial position, explaining yourself too much really doesn't work to your advantage. Explaining their position and their behavior also does not work to your advantage, which we also saw with the Russian stuff. The Democrats, it's just a witch hunt. It's just a witch hunt. There was no collusion. Crooked Hillary paid for the fake Steele dossier. And I mean, whether it's true or not, it does not work to your advantage, because then it looks like finger pointing, and it looks like deflection, and it looks like deception. So even if you attempt to explain what's really going on, it still does not work to your benefit. The only thing that will work to your benefit, two things, is either don't engage it, and if it's directly in front of your face and you have to engage it, you either say, yes, it's true, and I would do it again, or no, I did not, and I would never do that. That's really about it. Those are the strongest positions you can take. Do nothing, say nothing. Yes, I did, and I would do it again. No, I didn't, and I would never do that. Or if you legitimately made a mistake, I've said this in other videos, issuing an apology is a sign of weakness. There is a time and a place to apologize, but to be a serial apologizer is a very, very bad position to be in. And if there's somebody who puts you in that position constantly, where you feel like you're constantly having to apologize, that is the entire point of that tactic. Because apologies breed weakness. When you're always apologizing, you're always wrong. And if you're always wrong, you're never right. And if you're never right, then that means the people who are right are more intelligent, smarter, and wiser than you. And that's how, when you force people into the serial apology behavior, they're never satisfied until they hear, I'm sorry. The thing about that, you ever deal with somebody who they just won't shut up, they won't leave you alone until they hear the words, I'm sorry? And then all of a sudden, it's like they got their medicine. That's exactly how and why that technique works. Somehow or another, even though you're innocent to begin with, and they're the ones, dragging you through the mud and nagging and nagging and nagging and nagging and nagging, you're still the one who has to say, I'm sorry, and then you feel like you're the one who lost, even though they're the ones who were wrong. That's exactly how and why that works. So if you did make a mistake, you say, hey, look, yes, I did that, and it was a mistake. When I did it, it's because I was thinking of A, B, and C. I was unaware of blah. Had I known, I would have done something different. Does that make sense? Okay, so are we cool? That's how you do it. You don't say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Will you forgive me? Like I said, there is a time and a place for that. The only time an apology is justified is when you know that something is going to cause harm to somebody. And I don't mean like a breakup. Like if you're willfully wanting to hurt somebody, like say you're wanting to hurt Bobby, and so you go and you attack Bobby, but it also hurts Billy. You're like, damn, Billy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen. I meant to stab Bobby in the face, but then you inserted your face where Bobby's face should have been, and you shouldn't have gotten in the way. So you're kind of at fault there too. But I feel bad. I was trying to stab Bobby in the face, so I'm sorry. So you want to really, really restrict your use of apologies, because in one way people always say, it's like, look, if you hurt someone, you need to apologize. We're in an apology culture. And I'm not saying to never apologize. Understand, this is a gray area where you have to have an IQ higher than a houseplant to think about it. And really, it doesn't take that much thinking. You just have to not make it your knee-jerk reaction. There's plenty of people, their knee-jerk reaction is to apologize, even when they've done nothing wrong. They throw the apology out there because after a while you just learn, some people just need that as a medicine. Here, whoosh, apology sprinkles. Just put sorry sprinkles. Like, shit, they're getting worked up now. Sprinkle apologies and be done with it. That's really not what you want to do. You don't want to have to live your life like that, because it puts you in a weaker position. usually the people that serially apologize are the ones who have a target on their back for abusers for that specific reason. Like, because they're self-deprecating. When you are a serial apologizer, it's like you are dedicated to putting yourself in a weaker position, which somebody who is always seeking to be in a higher up position and feel better about themselves by putting others down, it's a match made in heaven. I like to put myself down. I like to build myself up. We should get together. Does that make sense? So, yeah, to wrap this all up, conserve your use of apologies. Instead, give explanations. You know? Explain. Look, what I was going for, this is what I was trying to do. Okay? I was unaware of whatever. Had I known, this is what I would have done different. And that's the truth. Take it or leave it. Does that make sense? Are we good now? Okay. Now, pass the pumpkin pie, please. And the sweet tea. Maybe some cranberry sauce. Thank you very much for listening. Please like, comment, or share, and I'll see you on the next video.